Hello, everybody. I am super excited to bring a very experienced realtor out of Chicago, Illinois, to tell us all about Chicago and also tell us how it is buying and selling real estate in Chicago. I'm really excited. From San Diego to Chicago, there's a lot of exchanges, and we're here to learn all about that from Michael Tanzillo. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael, and welcome.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. So tell us about yourself a little bit. How long have you been selling real estate?
I've been in real estate for 9 years now, and I was part-time at first, and now I'm full-time for the last 3 years. And I noticed that a difference in part-time to full-time, you have to be in it full-time to be successful. And yep, and just you have to be able to do that. So I was able to do that. All my kids are through college, so now I'm a full-time real estate agent.
So tell us a little bit more about that because and you're right. There's a lot of difference between selling real estate part-time and selling real estate full-time. Tell us more about that. What makes it so much more rewarding to sell real estate full-time versus part-time?
So for one, you have to be available for your clients, when they need you, and you have to accommodate their time. And, their time doesn't run on your time. You have to be available to be successful, to be available and take care of what their needs are. And if they're working a night job, they're working a day job, it doesn't, coordinate with your schedule, and that you can lose properties and lose offers. So I mean, it's availability is key, and just being there for them to help them through the process is important. So full time is definitely the way to become successful in the real estate business.
Well, but for a lot of realtors that want to get into the space of real estate, or a lot of new realtors that want to get into the space of selling real estate, it's a challenge to make that happen. So how have you made yourself so successful to be able to survive as a full-time realtor?
Well, I would say, yeah, that starts with your brokerage, how much support you have in your business. And I would say, like, you have to think of something more unique than what every other real estate agent is doing. So you want to stand out. And if you're not standing out, then you're just going to be like everybody else. And when real estate agents aren't selling, then your GCI is going to drop, just like all the other real estate agents. So how are you going to differ from all the other agents? And just, I think the right support, and I do coaching. I do Tom Ferry coaching, so that helps me create new habits and get new ideas, and want to succeed. To always like aim high. Don't like just say I'm going to like sell this many houses. You always shoot high, and if you fall a little below that, that's okay. But at least you can do anything you put your mind to. And I understand that some people like have to support families through real estate, and that's tough. But I think if you put your mind to it and you aim high, I think it can be very successful. And two, it's you can make the money that it's unlimited what you can make. It's how much you put into it, that's what you get out of it.
What made you choose to get into real estate?
Well, I met a woman. She owned her own brokerage, and she it was an independent brokerage, and I kind of enjoyed going around looking at houses because she we were looking for a house for us, and it was exciting. And I think that I just kind of picked up on it. I liked, and my biggest thing, I always wanted to be a psychologist. So it's kind of like the same thing. So I went to school. I didn't finish my undergrad, but I I scored high in like social worker, working with people, and I think this helps me be more successful in real estate because you're always dealing with people, and
Right.
there's all different people out there. And all their personalities are different, so you just can't treat everybody the same. You have to be different for everybody. And I think that makes me more unique than a lot of other real estate agents.
So how do you generate business, and what does your clientele look like?
Well, I generate business through a lead generation. I did realtor.com my first year full time. Got, like over 200, client people, just in my database. Just build your database,
Mhm.
and then, anyway, open houses is a big one. You can build a big database for open houses, but I did, my path was realtor.com. I got and at first, when I was doing it part time, I wasn't able to, like stay on top of things and get build relationships with these people. And now when I went full time, I started building my relationships, getting referrals from the people that I do business with, in that database, because life changes, and you always got to stay on top of your database and take see who's lives are changing, and just create that relationship with these people to stay on top of things. And I think that's where my referral source comes, and that's how you build business.
So you started with an online lead generation technique in order to get your customers, and then now your business is becoming more relationship based after you've cultivated some of those leads. Do I get
Right,
that?
right. Yeah, I think, I see a lot of new agents starting out and wanting to do this full time, and they think the money's going to come right away.
Mhm.
And that's not how real estate is. It takes time to build those relationships, because people got to know you, like you, and trust you. And if they don't, you're probably, their most biggest investment they're doing, and they have to know you and like you and trust you, correct? So I think that's important, and I think that a lot of these new agents start out, and there's people that don't want to knock on doors. They can't talk to people. So in that sense, I would say either find a different career or learn how to do that. You got to go beyond your limits. You can't be shy. You have to try new things. You just have to uh, be out there, be outgoing. So
Are there any particular habits that you say, make a difference, or really move the needle and make you stand out, or get you to be in the path to success?
I create relationships with business owners, and I try and promote their business through video, and it promotes me and it promotes them. So a lot of these local businesses, mom and pop businesses that are in the downtown Crystal Lake area where I live. I go into their business, and I do videos. I bring my videographer along with me, and I have them speak about their business. This way, it helps people understand what they really do, what they're about, and I'm on the front end of the video. So I mean, it helps me out, as the the known Crystal Lake real estate agent, and it helps the businesses out. So this is how I'm creating a lot of business.
So basically, you're supporting the small business owner, and in turn, they support your business.
Correct. Correct.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, and let's talk about the area that you serve. You are in
Crystal Lake, Illinois.
Crystal Lake. Okay, so let me see if I can and I can share my screen. This is my favorite part of talking to an out of area agent, an out of area, out of my area. So let's take a look and see. So if I'm going to the map, and let's see if you can tell us. I don't think I'm in the Google Maps. So let me find the maps and then so Crystal Lakes,
Crystal Lake, yes.
Crystal Lake, Illinois. All right. So let me just first see the relationship to where you are as to Chicago. So how far from Chicago are you? Uh,
We're about an hour northwest of Chicago.
okay, okay,
Mhm.
and I see the town that you're in. So tell us more about where you're at.
Well, I mean, it's a community of, it originated from the actual Crystal Lake, where when I lived in Chicago, where I grew up, when I was a kid, my parents used to take me out to Crystal Lake, and I thought it was like it was a long way. We drove and we drove and we drove, but it felt a lot longer because when you're 5 and 6 years old, or 7 years old, it feels like you're going forever. But it was a beach, so that's how it, I came to know it, and so it's kind of a community where there's a lot of, like, stores, and there's, I don't know if you guys have like jewels out there, but there's like three jewels within an 8 mile radius on Northwest Highway. And Crystal Lake, they have, on the lake, they have like boating, they have water skiing, they have events, they have running events. You can meet at the lake and do like a run, with the community. And it's a lot of the community, they have boats that they can store there, and it's just an awesome lake. Fishing's great, and it's just anything and everything is in Crystal Lake.
So does it really freeze up like these pictures have it?
It,
Um,
it doesn't, yeah, in most of the areas it does, but there is always some thin ice where you have to watch, so. But and our winters haven't been as cold as they normally been in the past. So I think it does freeze up, and people do ice fishing, which is cool. And it's an all year round of something to do.
that is awesome. So this is Crystal Lake. What about this one? What is this another lake or um
I'm actually on Lake Killarney, so I mean I own a house on the lake.
this one?
I don't know. I don't think it's that one. What is
No, this one, Three Oaks Recreation Area.
Okay, so there's a smaller lake right above that.
This one?
I believe that's Lake Killarney. Yes, I can't. Uh, it's not like this.
It doesn't actually
Yeah.
name the lake.
No, if you go maybe up more, I think there's might be another lake over there. So I don't know.
So are these natural lakes or
Yeah, Crystal Lake is about it's about 95 acres.
uh-huh.
And the lake I'm on is about 33 acres. So the difference between my lake and Crystal Lake, they allow motors on that lake, and on my lake it's only electric motors, because
Ah,
it just it's it's
smaller.
quieter for the residents, because I'm right on the lake. So I mean, people do live on Crystal Lake, but maybe that no.
I think this might also
Yeah,
be
that's
another.
it right there. That's where yeah, Lake Killarney.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah. So I actually live right where your pointer's at.
Right here?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's super
Yeah.
cool. So you live actually on the
Yeah, I
lake.
live here, and that's the beach you're pointing at, but I live like right next to the beach, so I'm actually on the lake.
That is super cool. So tell us about lake living. How does it how does it feel
It's
to live on a lake?
so I have, I have events, I have people come out, from, friends, family, past clients, and now I have four buyers that want to live on a lake because they've been to my lake. So it's something you always can, something always in the summer you can go down to the lake, you can enjoy like, a day at the beach, you have to just walk 20 feet and you're there. So I mean, it's really nice.
And it's quite green, which is
Yes,
also very
yes.
so yeah, I can imagine. So how does it work with basically selling real estate right on the lake?
It's very limited. I mean, people, like we bought our house 6 years ago, and we probably will never sell. I think it's about always about location, location, location. So it's a unique property. People, you don't see a lot go up for sale, and I think that it's tough to find things, and when properties do come up for sale, they're sold pretty quickly.
So tell us about values. Let me switch over to Zillow and let's see if we can look at some property values in Crystal Lake, Illinois.
So if you look on Kilkenny, it's my house is 6114 South Kilkenny. It's one
Six
L
one.
114 South Kilkenny, Kilkenny.
Okay, let me see.
I don't know if that's
Maybe I have to just put S. Kill
yeah,
and then KIL.
Kenny.
I
Not
still
coming up.
not.
So it's
Let me
six.
just go
Yeah.
Chicago. Let me go to Chicago, and then from there I can go up to uh, Crystal Lake. There we go. Okay, so there we go. All right. So now we can actually look at some homes
Yeah.
in the area. All
So
right.
so the value of homes out in Crystal Lake, it's like, of course, if you lived on Lake Michigan, it's going to be, 10 times the value. So the farther out you get away from the city, the value goes down. In
Uh-huh.
these communities, my house is probably worth about, five something, 525,000. Whereas
Uh-huh.
if you go to when you go closer to the Chicagoland area, the values increase in some areas. But they say, if you're closer to the Lake Michigan, if you're closer to, Chicago, then the values increase because everybody wants to be close to the local airports, the city of Chicago, because a lot of the events are in Chicago. So the farther out you go, it gets a little, the prices go down. So I mean, so my
Is
house,
this is this Lake Chicago? The big one? The big body of
yeah,
water?
yeah, that's Lake Michigan. Yes.
Oh, Lake Michigan. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. So
So
I
you're
mean,
saying Lake Michigan itself is more pricey than where you are at.
oh yeah, yes. Because you're actually in the city. You're in the downtown area. So yes.
Oh, so you're if you're around Lake Michigan, you're in the city.
Correct, yes.
Got
Well,
it.
not necessarily. If you go north, you're on North Shore, but you're not in, there's a downtown area with all like the shopping, and so I mean, if you're in that local downtown area, that price is really increased. But if you go farther north, it's called North Shore. Winnetka, houses are very expensive. But if you keep going farther, you get into Wisconsin, and it's kind of the value goes down a little. So, but if you're right on the lake, yeah, you have million, $5-10 million property. So
Right, right. But if you so how does the commute look like if you're living in Lake, if you're living close to Crystal Lake, do you
hmm
commute to Chicago to actually work? And if so, how does the commute look like?
So the commute, there's train lines that come out, and you can always take the train down into the city if you work in the city, and it's probably the fastest and easiest way to commute because you don't want to deal with all the traffic and all the construction going on roads. So taking the train is the way to go. It's about maybe an hour 20, hour 15 in, and
Hmm.
you're not wasting gas. You're not dealing with traffic, sitting in traffic. You're not late. It's train's always on time. So I mean, that would be the way to go if you're commuting to the city.
That's very interesting
Yeah.
because we are in San Diego and our public transportation is nothing to write home about.
Right. Yes.
And there's a lot of building that's going up in our
Mhm.
well, all over the place, but in particular in the metro area of San Diego, and there and most of these buildings are going up without parking,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yet public transportation is not anything that anybody can use. So when you're talking about public transportation, that is fascinating to me because I would imagine that your public transportation is probably very robust.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We have like there's different like I think there's like I would say there's the northwest line. There's the central west. There's at least like 6 or 7 different train lines going into the city, but they all end up pretty close to the same area. There's two local, like train stations in the city. I think it's called Ogilvy and Union Station, and they everybody goes there. All the train lines go to those two local stations, and that's where you commute from. You're in the center of downtown Chicago, and you're close to the Daily Center where most courts are held, and like a lot of attorneys go to the courthouse down there, so they commute to that location. But you can get there's taxis, I'm sure in San Diego too. There's like Ubers, taxis, so you can pretty much get to anywhere in a good hour and 20 minutes. You're in the city from almost anywhere. But the train line doesn't run out. The farther out you get, I mean, it doesn't go that far. So they still have to build on that to, farther out more, areas that are more than maybe 50, 60 miles away from Chicago.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. So I'm looking at these homes, and well, these are closer, I guess, within city, but within the city. But when I'm looking at more closer to this area of Crystal Lake, these are huge houses,
yes, yep, yes.
and for very reasonable 500
Reasonable, yeah, yeah, yeah,
for 4,000 square foot house. That
yeah.
is unbelievable.
Yes, I've been to San Diego, and my mother-in-law actually lives there, and we've thought about buying a second home out there, moving out there, and for what you get out there compared to here, it's there's pros and cons to anywhere you go, but you get the weather, we get the seasons, so,
Right.
but yeah, you get a big house for a good price.
I mean, $330,000
Yeah,
for a bedroom, two bath house, 1,600 square feet. That
yes,
Unbelievable.
But if you look at the taxes on some of these houses, your taxes are a little higher. But I think, people say, oh, Illinois has such high taxes, but you get so much for those taxes. I mean, the schools, the libraries, the everything here, the shopping, it's just so much, and there's so much around where, like I said, there's three different Jewels shopping, grocery shopping within, 7, 8 miles on the same street. So I mean, there's just so much.
So how does the property taxes get calculated? For example, this house at 330,000. How is the property taxes calculated on it?
By county, there's different counties you live in, and it's by square footage of the house.
Hmm.
And if you're living on a lake, of course they're going to jack your taxes up because you're living on a lake. So I mean, it's mostly in just just average houses. It's basically square footage and the county, because some counties have a higher tax ratio.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, and then from year to year, how does the taxes stay the same, go up? What's the ratio of it going up? How does that work?
So every 5 years they evaluate, if you do, if you do any like remodeling, you have to get a permit, and they keep track of that. So usually they reassess your house every 5 years. And then they'll determine, whether, you improved it, and, raise the taxes. If you put an addition on the house, they're going to raise the taxes. And if the county is in need of more money, they're going to raise your taxes.
So over here we have something we call Proposition 13, where the taxes cannot be raised, property taxes cannot be raised more than a certain percentage per year, no
Right.
matter. So even if the county needs more money or the city needs more money, there is a limit to how much the property taxes can be raised. So
Right.
that's the case there, you were saying.
Right. And if if you're renting the place, of course you can't claim a homestead exemption, whereas that's going to bring your taxes down if you're living in the house. If you're a senior over 65, you can claim another exemption where it's going to bring your taxes down even more. And if you're a VA vet, disabled vet, you're not paying any taxes.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, if you're a disabled, vet, you're not going to pay taxes on a house.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So,
It's a very attractive benefit.
yes,
We do not
yes.
have that here, even though we're a big military town. We do not have
Right,
a
right.
benefit for our veterans.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of it until I sold a house to, did a VA loan to a vet, and they were disabled, and there wasn't no. They said, well, we don't care about the taxes because we don't pay taxes anyway. So I'm like, oh wow, that was the first. And then you just get to, and it's just like, wow, I didn't even know that.
That is very interesting.
And
So,
actually, they live in California. So actually, they moved here from California. So I don't know how it was out there, but they said in Illinois, maybe that's why they moved to Illinois. I don't know.
can you tell us the areas that you cover in case that one of our viewers is thinking of moving to your area and is interested in contacting you? What areas do you cover?
Well, I cover actually, the Crystal Lake, pretty much the northwest and the west. I mean, like Algonquin, Crystal Lake, Cary, McHenry, Harvard, Huntley, Lake in the Hills. I pretty much go. I go probably in, I'd say a 30-mile radius from where I'm at.
From where you are, which is right
Crystal Lake, yeah.
Yeah. So all of this basically this circle is where you cover.
Correct. Yes.
So you don't actually go into Chicago itself.
No, when you go into Chicago, there's a lot of, rules and regulations with real estate.
Mhm.
Whereas, sometimes, what we do out here is we put lock boxes on doors. In Chicago, it's not like that. They don't usually put a lockbox on a door. The agent, the listing agent, will meet you there and show you the house.
I see.
So it's regulated, and there's certain, and if you're not aware of a lot of what goes on in Chicago,
Mhm.
and you don't keep up with the rules and regulations, then it's better to even refer that business to somebody that wants to move into Chicago. So
Excellent. Well, I think I found myself a lake house.
there you go.
Taken, this one is right on the lake, and it's very affordable. Look, for less than $300,000,
Yeah.
287,900, you get a 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,150 square feet. That is an absolute bargain for a
Right.
beautiful piece of property.
And even like a second home. I mean, if you want to come here, like a certain time of the year, I would say the summer if you're on a lake house, or if you like fishing, you
Yeah,
know, come on out, and enjoy lake living.
right. Exactly. Exactly. So
And for the price, you can't beat that.
you can't beat that. No, you can't
No,
beat that.
no,
There is not, you cannot even buy a mobile home for $300,000
no,
in. Yeah. So,
no.
all right, very good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Michael. And audience, if you are thinking of contacting Michael, there is his name, and he is in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. And you can find him on Facebook. There is his Facebook address, and there is his phone number. And if you prefer to send him an email, there is Michael's email address, or you can visit his website. He is also on Instagram, so please give him a follow on Instagram so that you can stay in touch and you can ask him questions. And if you are thinking of San Diego, I am happy to help you here in San Diego. There's my phone number. And if you prefer email, there's my email address. I also like to hang out on Instagram. There's my Instagram handle, or on Facebook. And if you prefer to go to our website, there is our website. And if you are watching us today on YouTube, please give us a 2 thumbs up, and please click on that subscribe button, because that way when we are having new videos, you can see them as well. So thank you so much for joining us today, and make it a great day. Thank you, Michael, for joining us today.
Welcome. Thank you.